All right, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off first and foremost by giving all praises going out to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, rule and teach well. Peace and salutations to those that are doing this work in truth and sincerity. This your brother Nathaniel, coming back at you through the Spirit with another lesson. And I pray I hope this lesson is edifying. And in this lesson, we're going into a video that I had watched, Elder Apostle Tahar, which I thought was a good title. And the title of the video is You Can Be White, You'll Be Alright, but You Can't Be an Edomite. And that's going into basically that this isn't a color thing, because our people were scattered among all the nations. So we're going to look like the heathens, those nations that we were scattered upon. So those other heathen nations, Moab, which are the so-called Chinese, Ishmael, which are the Arabs, Edom, which are the so-called white man, Elam, which is so-called Indian, and so on and so forth, So we're going to look like those nations in which we were scattered. Now, just because you look like a nation that you were scattered, right, doesn't mean that you are of that nation. You just, your line could go back to an Israelite, right? Then anybody with a little common sense will be able to tell you that, if a man, say for instance, a black man, he sleeps with a so-called white woman and gets her pregnant, and she has a baby, and that child is a boy, and that boy goes out and sleeps with the white woman and gets her pregnant, and that child is born, and that child is a boy. By the time you get to the third generation, you can't tell that there was ever even a Jake in that line. Okay? But does that make the seed not an Israelite seed? No, it doesn't. It still came from the Israelite man. All right? And, at the end of the day, all Israel is going to be saved. All right? So Edom, it's not going to be a good time to be Edomite. You can be stone cold black, and you can be an Edomite. Okay? Your line could go back to Esau, and you could have been with so-called black women, and did the same process. And by the third generation, you can't tell that seed came from Edomite. They're gonna have dark woolly hair. They're gonna have the big nose, the big lips. And they're gonna look like a Jake, but their seed line is gonna go back to Esau. So they're Edomite. They're what we would call a tear. Okay. So we're gonna go through a couple precepts, to show that first off, Edom is going to be destroyed completely. The other nations are gonna, they're gonna get their head bust, and they're gonna be put in slavery, but they're gonna be eventually shown mercy. But Edom is gonna be destroyed. So I'm gonna start off with Hebrews 11, and Hebrews 11 and 17, and it says, "By faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac. He that had received the promises offered up as his begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called." Okay, so that's why it's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, accounting that Yahweh was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. All right, by faith Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. By faith Jacob, when he was dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph, that was Ephraim and Manasseh, and worshipped, leaning upon the top of his staff. By faith Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel, and gave commandment concerning his bones. So you see that Ephraim and Manasseh. I believe Ephraim is greater than Manasseh. If you know the story about Joseph, and he put his hand on Ephraim and Manasseh. Isaac did. I'm sorry, Jacob did, and you know, Joseph was like, Manasseh's the older, and he said, yeah, but Ephraim is going to be greater. Um, okay, so we know that Ephraim is greater than Manasseh, but they're still Israelites at the end of the day. All right, but Esau ain't nowhere in that. Okay, and the blessing that that was given to Esau was a sword, and we can get it. All right, so this Genesis 27. This title is the blessing was not stolen. The blessing was given to Jacob. It was sold to Jacob through the kingdom was sold to Jacob through a pottage, through some pottage. Esau sold him for sold his birthright for some pottage. Okay. Start at verse 38, and it says, and Esau said unto his father, had thou but one blessing, my father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven. And verse 40, and by thy sword thou shalt live, and shalt thou serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. All right, so the scriptures clearly say that Esau is going to live by the sword. Now, what's the modern day sword? It's the gun. Who's the one that's causing all the wars? It's Esau. Okay, but this was the blessing that was given to Esau, was a blessing of the sword. Now, Jacob was given the kingdom. All right. Now, there was a split in the bloodline. You had the Edomites, and then you had the Israelites that came out through the loins of Jacob. Okay, that's why Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, and going back to what I was saying earlier about the father, right? This is Numbers 1 and 18. And it says, and they assembled themselves, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of the names, from 20 years and upwards by their polls. So your pedigrees comes through the lineage of your father. So whatever your father is, your father's father, that's what you are. All right. So this is why we say Edom they cannot be a part of this, because they were not given these blessings. The blessings only came through the line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, did Isaac have many sons? Yes, he did. But the chosen line came through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, you can't get around that. And Edomites cannot, and all the other nations can't make it. All right. Slakia. Let's go to Amos chapter 3. This is now listen to this, okay? Because the thing is that all nations can be saved, right? But the scriptures clearly say over and over and over again that the Lord is only dealing with the Israelites, okay? He ain't dealing with any of the other nations, and he says it right here in Amos. I'm gonna just read it. This is Amos 3:1. It says, "Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for your iniquities." You see, so the Lord don't know any other family. He ain't dealing with any other family. All right. So if you ain't a part of the bloodline through the lineage of your father, you ain't a part of this. There is no spiritual Israelite. It has to be by blood. Now, with that being said, it is not a color thing. Okay, and a color can be an indicator, but that's not the absolute. Okay, because the Lord scattered us among all the nations. All right, let's see. You got, there's a bunch of scriptures that talk about. All right. Let me see. I'm gonna get Ezekiel 12 and 15, and it says, "And they shall know that I am the Lord when I shall scatter them among the nations and disperse them in the countries." You see that? So the Lord scattered us among the nations and dispersed us among the countries. Right? And you can find where he said he was going to do that in the book of Deuteronomy 28 and 64. If you want to go check that out. All right? And then I'm going to go grab one more. This is Psalms 44 and 11. Psalms 44 and 11. And it says, "Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen." You see that? So the Lord scattered us among the heathen nations. So through generations of reproducing with those heathen nations, what do you think we're going to look like? We're going to look like those other heathen nations. This is why, if you're Israelite, you're going to be good because you're going to come back in the kingdom in your right mind, right? If you're one of the other nations, you're going to serve your sentence, But hey, at the end of the day, you're going to be able to go back to your own land after everything is serviced. But if you're an Edomite, you're getting destroyed. Okay? If you're Edomite, you're getting destroyed. And that's just the bottom line. And that's why, I entitled this video, You Can Be White, It's Alright, but not if you're an Edomite. Alright? If you're an Edomite, it ain't gonna be alright. Alright? And just to show you, because we're gonna grab those precepts in just a sec where it shows, how if you're Edomite, you're not gonna be alright. So, and this right here is a future prophecy. This is going to happen in the kingdom. And it just goes to show you that the other nations, they're going to be straight. But Esau is not going to be straight. This is Isaiah 2, and I'm going to start at verse 1. And it says, And the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, and it shall come to pass that in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow onto it. Okay? And this ain't happening right now. All nations ain't flowing to the ones over there in that land right now. They're flowing away from it. Right? Verse 2, and it says, and it shall come to pass in the last Verse 3, it says, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go to the mount of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his path. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. You see, so this ain't happening now. The other nations ain't going to Israel to learn from them small hats, man. That's not happening right now. Okay, this is a future prophecy that is going to happen, and you're starting to see the men of the Lord being built up right now on this side. Okay, so the other nations are going to learn the ways of the Lord, but Esau is not going to learn the ways of the Lord. Okay, and here's you know Esau forwarded the affliction, so Esau is going to be destroyed. This is Zechariah 1:15, and it says, and I am very sore displeased with the heathen that is at ease, for I was a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction. See that? So Esau forwarded the affliction, and and the heathen too. The other nations. This is why they're gonna get their punishment, because when the Lord was kind of took the gas off of it a little bit, they're like, nah. And they pushed the pedal through the flow. Okay. And this is why the other nations, they just it's like Esau was the one that initiated it, and the other nations got a lick in. You know, So the Lord is going to punish the other nations for what they did, but Esau is going to be totally wiped out. Okay? And when you go to Obadiah, right? I'm just going to go ahead and get it. This is Obadiah. Let's start at 8. It says, Obadiah 1 and 8 says, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and the understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. You see that? So Esau ain't gonna get no mercy. This is why, you have to be connected to the bloodline of Israel if you're gonna get saved. Now, of course, 2/3 of our people are gonna die in the fire, and 1/3 is going to be brought through. But Esau and uh, the other nations are going to be straight, and they're going to be brought back in the kingdom. Okay, because we're going to need slaves to help us rebuild the kingdom. But even after that, their lands are going to be restored, and they're going to go back to their lands. And I just read that. How they going to say, "Let us go up to the mount of the God of Jacob, and let's walk in His ways." And that's going to cause those lands to flourish. All right. All right, so continued on. It says, verse 10, it says, for the violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Okay, so Esau is going to be cut off forever. He's going to be the only nation is going to be cut off forever. Now we can go into it. It says it right here, and we can go deeper into the seed line. How the Lord only came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But I'm just hitting little key points right here to show that Esau ain't gonna make it if you're not connected through the blood of Israel. And even then, like I said, 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed, and 1/3 is going to be brought through the fire, and the elect, okay, because you got the elect of the elect, and it says, I'm gonna skip down a little bit. Verse 18, and it says, "And the house of Jacob should be a fire." This is in the kingdom. "And the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall be none remaining of the house of Esau. For the Lord hath spoken it." So the Lord is going to destroy Esau off the face of the earth for his violence, for the violence that he's done, and for him destroying the earth. Okay, because the scriptures talk about how the Lord is going to destroy him to destroy the earth. All right. So if your bloodline don't go to through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and that's why I brought out earlier that it has to go through those lines and make Hold on a second. All right, so let's go back to them close. In just a second. They want to make it super long. Leviticus 26 and all right. I'm gonna start at for the 41. It says, and I'm gonna start at 40. It says, "If they shall confess their iniquities and the iniquities of their fathers, which with their trespass which they have trespassed against me, and that also that they have walked contrary unto me, and that I have also walked contrary unto them, and when and have brought them into the land of their enemies," talking about us getting scattered, okay? And he brought us into the land of our enemies, and we're here right now, Babylon. "If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity," which means you got to deal with this shit, you got to deal with this hell, "then I will remember my covenant." All right, listen to this. "I remember my covenant with Jacob, and my covenant, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land." Now, who did that say? Any other? And Jacob's name was turned to Israel, Yashala, Yahi Shah, Prince Allah, power, Prince of Power. Okay, so Jacob's name was changed to Prince of the Power in Israel. So if your name, if your bloodline don't go through those medians, if it didn't go through those channels, you ain't part of this. You ain't part of this. Okay? No other nation can be saved. If you Edomite, you're gonna be completely destroyed. And that's it. Alright? The covenant was not given to any other nation. You can't just become I'm a spiritual Israel. No, you're not a spiritual Israelite. You have to be Israelite by blood, but you can look like an Edomite. You can look like a Moabite and still be an Israelite. And you can look like a Jake and be an Edomite. That's just, how it is. All right. And then the Lord said that there's going to be tares among us. All right. But at the end of the day, if you Edomite, you're going to be destroyed forever. You ain't coming back. So with that, I pray it was an edifying lesson. I'm going to end it by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Shem, Yahushua, Shem, Rakakadash. To next time, I can say shalom.